You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, holy hell. The Cleveland Browns. Yeah, it's something else. It really is. I mean, I got to tell you, it's pretty wild. I've never seen anything like this. Oh, some might call these the Cleveland Clowns. Yeah. Yeah. You know, somebody pointed something out earlier, and it did send some alarm bells go off in my head about DePodesta being involved in this, being a baseball guy for Jimmy Haslam. You know, they got rid of Baker after that dude came in. Watson came in, Stefanski, Andrew, and this is a very, very, very analytics-driven franchise. And look, you got to have a fair amount of analytics in football now. You just do. But you have to have some gut, and you have to use some knowledge. You got to apply some football acumen, some eye test action. That's probably why guys like Jim Harbaugh are so successful, because he can just walk in and sort of look at a situation and go, like, in other words, he could take one look at Alex Smith and go, you know what? I can make him a professional quarterback. Guess what? Alex Smith turned into one for like 8 years. Jim Harbaugh and then Andy Reid. It's just the same thing. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay. You've got to get the right football people in Cleveland. And I liked Stefanski, but it's clear he's not even involved anymore. I don't think he's involved. Let's start here. This will make the second time in 4 weeks that Joe Flacco starts versus the Packers. He did it in week 3 in Cleveland. They won, by the way. And will do it in week 6 in Green Bay as the Bengals QB. Zach Taylor says Joe Flacco will start this Sunday. Flacco got in there and said, yep, been around long enough. I know this whole offense. I can't wait to see Flacco throw to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. That could be interesting. Could we have a second run of what we saw a couple of years ago in Cleveland when Amari Cooper was still around, Nick Chubb in the house, etc.? So right here, I had to do an ignore minimum snap count because Dylan Gabriel's only started 1 game. But if you compare him to the other quarterbacks in the league, PFF's got him graded out as tied for the 21st best quarterback in football. But again, number one, if you ignore minimum snap count, he disappears because he hadn't had enough games. All right, so that just gives you an idea, but that gives you an idea of sort of where he sits right now. A lot of weird shit going on. I told you guys yesterday there was a world where Bailey Zappe ends up as the number 2 quarterback on this team. All these stories started coming out. I put my video out yesterday. All these stories. Shedeur Sanders is QB2. Except he's not. He's not QB2 yet. Mary Kay Cabot, 1 hour ago. Kevin Stefanski will wait till later in the week to decide if Shedeur Sanders will be the number 2 versus the Steelers. I take it Shedeur Sanders will not be the number 2. Stefanski says that the Flacco trade was Andrew Berry's decision. Time for Bailey Zappe number 2 until Deshaun Watson is ready. I mean, what are we doing? I told you guys. I told you. This is weird. Stefanski, this is Tony Grossi talking about Stefanski seeming off or bizarre at this press conference today. Like he was shaking. Kevin actually looked shaken to me.
It was bizarre. Kevin actually looked shaken to me today. I mean, to come out and say this trade was a total surprise, my gosh, it just does not speak well. They're flying by the seat of their pants. They're going into Pittsburgh with 2 guys who've never won a game. It's just totally bizarre. But you know, we see this happen. This unfolds every year with this team. It's just happening so much sooner this year.
So, in other words, Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam traded Joe Flacco. Kevin Stefanski didn't have any involvement in it. It was a, quote, total surprise to Kevin Stefanski. This is what, you know what? This is what dysfunctional ass organizations do. And I do think they probably should have moved on from Flacco. But your coach should be right in the middle of that process. I'm not saying he should necessarily have a say, although your good coaches absolutely would have a say. McVay, Shanahan, etc. They traded his ass right out from underneath. That's nuts. That's nuts. It does make me wonder, is Kevin Stefanski about to get fired? More from ESPN Cleveland.
I was surprised. I don't know what the holdup is. I thought it was a formality. I thought he would come out and say, yes, Shedeur's number 2, and we'll decide about our number 3 later in the week. But he cast doubt on it, and I was surprised by that.
Wow. I can't wait to see what this app is like in a couple of days. If Shedeur Sanders is not QB2, if Bailey Zappe ends up being, and look, Zappe's the one with the much more NFL experience. He started several games. Trust me, I told you guys. I follow the Patriots. I tend to root for the Patriots when they're not playing the 49ers. I watched the Bailey Zappe, Mac Jones fiasco. Bill Belichick had a hard-on for Bailey Zappe. Kind of an old school guy, got a buzz cut and a flat top, unless he's changed that by now. Country boy. And has Bailey Zappe got pictures of coaches around the league? Is that why? Look, laughing my ass off. Bailey Zappe, QB2 incoming. Stefanski on the trade. Took us by surprise. They called us. Happened very fast. Zach Jackson. On this week's QB2, we're still working through all the roster type things. With young players, I'm always mindful of their development. Let the week play out and make a decision later on. Wow. Wow. Oh, God, dog. Oh, so, yeah. I will say this. The mindset here feels like they're scared to have 2 active rookies for a game and not have somebody that has taken NFL reps in actual games, in actual competitive settings, not called preseason. That's the issue here. It would be my guess. Okay, so in other words, you rarely ever, I can't tell you the last time I remember 2 active rookies at quarterback being the only 2 guys available. I don't know if I can remember it, period. Somebody will probably say, yeah, it just happened 3 years ago. I don't remember it happening. Usually it's a rookie with some kind of a backup, veteran guy of some, I mean, it could even be a Josh Dobbs or a Jacoby Brissett was behind Drake May. That kind of dude, Bailey Zappe. Ugh. I mean, trust me, I don't, there's not a fascination, but if Stefanski feels like Shedeur Sanders can't hit the running back coming out of the backfield or check it down, and he knows Bailey Zappe can, that's going to be the problem. Wow. Man, I did see somebody as I was sort of just looking through, because I always like to look through and get a feel of the fan base. Somebody's like, the moment Bailey Zappe is named QB2, Shedeur should request a trade. I mean, what do you do, though, if the coach feels like you're just not ready for it yet? It's almost like Stefanski's trying to protect Shedeur from the world seeing what he can do or can't do. At least if he gets out there and he's total ass, people can sort of know, okay, this ain't worked out. Although I suspect the excuse would be, well, they didn't develop him. You know, he's a 5th round pick. That's crazy, though. Acting bizarre at the press conference. Kevin Stefanski, he's a dead man walking. Maybe he might be the first. I thought it looked like it was Brian Callahan that would be the first coach fired. He won a big game the other day against Arizona, and it was all emotional. So that probably bought him 2 or 3 more weeks at least. And then Mike McDaniel, who was acting strange as hell during his press conference, if they drop a game, which they just lost to the Panthers, he's got it. I would say McDaniel's first. Stefanski could be any damn day now because Jim Schwartz is on this staff. He can be the head coach for the rest of the year. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.